You know, nothing makes my day more enjoyable than sitting down and watching a movie that I know absolutely nothing about. I haven't researched it. I didn't watch any trailers for it. Nothing. I saw it, that it came up for video on demand, and I thought, wow, I'm going to watch this flick. I'm going to go in blind. And I'll tell you, for the most part, I was pretty fucking impressed. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So I'm going to try and keep this review relatively short, but I think you all know that's a load of bullshit because I just can't stop myself from fucking talking. But this movie, I mean, it deserves to be talked about. It is fucking good. Now, it's not without its faults, and I'll get to those in a few minutes, but it is called The Witch, Part 1, The Subversion. Now, this is supposed to be the first movie in a trilogy, and honestly, the way this first movie was presented, I hope that they don't waste any time getting Part 2 and Part 3 out. I love this movie. This story was really, really good. And most notably, I went in blind. I didn't even watch a trailer for it. I saw it come up on my feed one day, and I thought The Witch, and it's a Korean movie. I thought, I'm going to see what this is all about. Now, it certainly wasn't what I was expecting, but I was not disappointed at all. So, and then when I researched it after, I found out, and again, I'm going to butcher names here, but it's written and directed by Park Hoon-jung, who, if you're not familiar with him, if you've ever seen the movie I Saw the Devil, he was the writer of that film. And I'll tell you right now, watch that movie because it is absolutely phenomenal. So anyways, I'm not even going to say names here because I'm just going to butcher them. And I'm not going to give too many spoilers. I know some of you hate when I do this, but go in like I did, aside from watching this review, and just let it unfold in front of you, because there's a couple times in this movie where I thought it was going to go in one direction, and it ends up going in a different direction. And I'll tell you that the twists and turns in this movie, especially in the third act, of course that's a spoiler, but I mean, I love this movie. I mean, like, very quickly, to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a really strong 7.5. The one thing that I didn't like about it was it's too fucking long. It is. Like, it's over 2 hours long. And like the dialogue, I know they're trying to build these characters up, and I mean, they have to give like a backstory, but I just, they explain too much. They explain everything, and it doesn't need to be done. And even some of the conversations they have throughout the movie are just too long. I don't know if this is how, like, every movie, like different movies from all around the world have, different audiences, right? Like Japanese audience, they appreciate a different style of horror for the most part than over here in Canada and the US, and vice versa. And this movie's Korean, so their take on this type of movie, is different than what we'd see over here. And, it's more dialogue driven. And I respect that, but I mean, still, you have to tighten up the editing, because there are a few scenes in this movie where it almost gets to the point of dragging the movie down, because when the action's happening, I mean, it's fucking killer. Like, I'll put the action in this movie up against anything that we see over here or is made over here in Canada or the US. I mean, it's awesome. And then the twist, again, there's a twist at the end. Okay, so spoiler, but I mean, I didn't see it coming. Not at all. You know what I mean? But I mean, if I was gonna say anything bad about this movie, it's too fucking long, and they needed to cut the dialogue down. But that aside, I mean, bring on 2 and 3, because I want to see where this character, Ju-yeon, ends up going, you know what I mean, after the end of this movie. So basically, in a nutshell, I'll just give you the quick synopsis here. A high school student with amnesia tries to uncover what has happened to her, all leading her into a deeper trouble, ultimately revealing a darkness she could not have imagined. So again, that's kind of a vague synopsis, but I'm doing you a favor. Trust me. Don't hate on me too much in the comments saying, we want, more told. I'm seriously, go in and watch this movie not knowing anything. The first act I will talk about, and it opens up at this research facility. And the little girl there, who I said was Ju Young, sorry, has escaped. Okay, and they're on the run, or she's on the run, and they're trying to hunt her down. Okay, and there's like the officers after her, and then the the lady that runs the facility, and stuff like that. And we're kind of introduced to these characters. I'm gonna butcher names here, but Mr. Cho is kind of like the bad guy, sort of in this movie, and he's kind of I don't know. He's okay. Dr. Bayak is the lady that runs the facility, and then Mr. Cho is kind of the guy that works under her, but he's like the security guy who maintains the peace in this research / science facility. You know what I mean? But again, I don't even want to give away what they're trying to accomplish in this research facility, because it'll give too much of the movie away. But anyways, she escapes, and then she ends up on this farm of these two, this couple that have a cattle farm, and they take her in, and then they fast forward 10 years down the road, where she's 18, I believe, and just finishing up high school, and the mom becomes sick, and the cattle industry is kind of hurting, and the farm is on the decline. So she enters this talent contest because she's very gifted. She does really well in school. She's a really good singer. So she enters this talent contest, and it's, she just keeps getting up higher and higher and moving on and progressing. And then finally she gets to the point where it's televised, right? And then as soon as her face is on the TV, then, even though it's 10 years after the fact, I mean, this research facility and Mr. Cho has been trying to find this girl who has done a pretty good job of, staying under the radar. Her face is on TV now, but she's so desperate to win this contest so she can get the money to help her parents, first of all with their mom's treatment, and then help save the farm from going, under, right? Because this is all they know. So she puts herself out there, and as soon as her face goes on the TV, then these guys start coming after her again. And that is where this movie starts to take off, and then all the twists and turns start to happen, and I don't want to say anything beyond that. I will say, again, this movie is easily at least 20 minutes to a half an hour too long, and it's just, and you'll see it. Now, don't let that deter you. I mean, it's beautifully acted. It's beautifully shot. Some of the cinematography in this movie is incredible. The special effects are on point. I mean, the action sequences and the fight scenes and stuff like that are, I mean, I would put them up against anything you'd see over here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely saying watch this movie, but you'll see when you watch it, there are points in this movie where they just explain way too much, and it's just, some of the conversations are way too long, and it just drags the movie down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for conversation and good dialogue, but I mean, you have to be able to edit it a bit better, and that's the only fault I really have with this movie. And I really did like the story. I really did like the ending, and I like the little twists and turns that happen that kind of confuse you. And I mean, the one twist will, maybe you'll see it coming. I didn't see it coming, and I thought, wow, good for you guys for pulling that off, because it fucking went right under my radar. So anyways, I'm highly recommending this. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I wish I could give it a higher rating. I know it's on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's sitting at an 85% for critics and 87% for audience, which is fantastic. The only fault I had is just it's too long. It's too long, and the dialogue sometimes just drags it down. So it's a shame, really, because if they could have done that, the pacing would have been fantastic, because the action scenes in this movie are killers. So, and there's gore in it too. I mean, when we do get to the bloody gore scenes, I mean, there's some bloody fucking gore scenes in this movie. So definitely worth the watch. So anyways, it's called The Witch Part 1, The Subversion. I can hardly wait until 2 and 3 come out. Definitely check it out. If you have seen it, let me know what you thought of it. And if you haven't, go rent it, and then please come back and give me your thoughts on it and see if you liked it as much as I did. And see if you agree with me. See if some of the dialogue scenes just drag a little too long and kind of, drag the movie down just a little bit. Kind of like these reviews where I just talk way too much and, kind of drag you've probably clicked off already, I'm guessing. So anyway, honestly, I can't blame you. So anyways, The Witch Part 1 Subversion, check it out. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, stay scared.